Welcome to Accounting High.
When I started doing this internship, I realized so many students drop accounting because they judge accounting off of what they think accounting is in the classroom. Accounting in the classroom, I'll be completely honest, is boring and it's really damn hard. It's really hard. Accounting in the real world, yeah, it's hard, but it's rewarding, it's fun, and it's exciting. At least what I'm doing at the small firm I'm at, right? Maybe the work at the big firm isn't as fun. I don't know.
Welcome back to our class. It's the guide. Please take a seat. Step into this unique guidance session. Navigate with me. It's the capital S. Oh yes, I'm fresh. C-double-O-T. Y apostrophe O-K-R apostrophe. You see? Yeah, janitor Scott coming to you live from the closet with a bucket and a mop. So find a cozy spot. We all want financial freedom. A-C-C-O-U-N-T-I-N-G-H-I-G-H. Preach. Putting this course together. Sit back, relax, open your mind. Classes in session. Guidance class at Accounting High.
Introducing the star of our show,
Scotty and Chayton Farlee.
We're gonna have a problem here.
Welcome back, students. Class is in session, and I have with me Mr. Chayton Farlee. What's up, homie?
How's it going, Scotty? Excited to get a little bit of a counselor session here today.
Yeah, well, actually, I still think you're going to give our students the session here, and you're going to teach us the lessons because you have a lot to teach me as well. You're doing some amazing things, son. This brings me back to Sons of CPA's days. This is like early days. So for our students and for our listeners, for those of you who don't know, Mr. Chayton Farlee is blazing a trail here. A very young professional still in college. He has 17 episodes already of his show, Accounting Conversations. I was on episode number 12. Chayton, tell our students why you're even here. Why? Why accounting? Why you're doing all this stuff?
Yeah, so I love accounting, and I realized there was a whole other side to accounting than they teach you in school. So I'm a crazy passionate person. When I start doing something, I do it 100%, right? So I started studying accounting, and I'm like, well, I got to go find all the YouTube videos and podcasts and all the stuff about accounting that I can because I'm not getting enough of it in the classroom. Well, I started running into people like you, people like Blake Oliver, Logan Graff, Jason Staats, Ryan Lazanis, all these, I call you guys accounting influencers. And you're talking about things like CAS, things like Xero and QuickBooks and TaxDome and Karbon. And I'm like, what the heck? What is this stuff? Like, I've never even heard of this stuff. So I come to find out there's this whole other world to accounting other than the Big Four. Because in school, it's like Big Four or bust, essentially, is what it feels like. And, you know, for the right person, that might be the correct path, right? But I think students should have a broad view of what's going on in the profession outside of just tax and audit and outside of the Big Four. So that's the goal of what I do on LinkedIn, and my goal with Accounting Conversations is to give students a different perspective than maybe they're getting in the classroom.
Oh, it's beautiful. And the Big Four does dominate everything that they teach in school, primarily because they are the pipeline, or at least the perceived pipeline, the direction to go in accounting. Everybody feels like they need to go that direction and to that. Are you saying that you may have found a different path? Because from my understanding, you are at the Big Four already, currently. Is that right?
Well, I was supposed to be at the Big Four.
Oh.
But I actually found a small remote firm, started interning with them, and decided I want to go all the way with them. I'm going to be sticking with a CAS practice and be going a little bit of a different route.
This is news. I may not have seen any kind of announcement about this, but just last month, or maybe a couple months ago, you were on your way to EY.
I was, and then I did some soul searching. I really value my time at home with my family. That's something incredibly important to me, and it's more important than even money. Finances are important, but I really value my time. So a few months ago, I was on the accounting podcast with Blake Oliver and David Leary. Well, I got reached out to by a small CAS firm owner, and he offered me an internship. He wasn't looking for an intern. He heard my podcast episode, was really excited about my passion, and so he offered me an internship. And so I've been doing this internship for 3 or 4 months and had these other internships lined up with EY, and I had another internship lined up with a big firm in Utah. And I was just doing this soul searching because I love the firm I'm with right now is 100% remote, and I get to do everything as an intern. So I'm doing bookkeeping. I get to help with taxes. I'm helping with new tech implementation. That's the main thing I'm working on right now, actually. I can still have my podcast. In fact, I'm encouraged to have my podcast and post on LinkedIn. And I started to realize that a lot of these things weren't going to be 100% possible if I went to the Big Four. You know, Some of the things I say on my podcast or on LinkedIn, I don't know if they'd be taken the right way at the Big Four. And as I realized all this, I started to rethink my journey. I do think that going Big Four gives you an immense amount of experience in a very short amount of time, especially working the extra hours. But if I found a smaller firm that I'm getting mentored at all of the time, I'm getting experience with Xero, with Ramp, with TaxDome, with all these different softwares, and I'm going to get to network with and go to conferences with all these people I've already been getting to know on my podcast and through LinkedIn, I think that's the career path I want to go down. And so that's what I've decided. So I'm going to continue being an intern at this firm till I graduate, and then I'll become an associate and start working on my master's in taxation on the side while I'm working full time.
Oh, wow. Wow. This is so breaking news. It's not breaking news for everybody, but this is still very interesting because you were hyped up and excited about going to EY. You thought this was going to be a great experience. And that soul searching took you to see where that road leads and the freedoms that you would be giving up. And your freedom sounds like it's a lot more important than any financial compensation or dollar amount. Wow. This is so cool because you saw this as another path and actually committed to it. And now I guess you could see yourself potentially one day owning a practice. Is that the path you think you might be on?
That's the path I want to be on. So if everything goes perfectly right, the small firm I'm at right now could potentially be a place where I become an owner someday, and potentially quicker than the 20 years it takes at a Big Four.
Yeah. It only took me 5 years at mine. And this sounds a very similar path. I know you know my story, and our students probably know, our listeners. And I had a handicap that prevented me from going that Big Four route. So I put an an actual wall up to not proceed. You consciously made a decision to do this. This is why you're actually in the guidance counselor's seat right now, because you're making these conscious decisions and you're guiding your own life and the direction it can go in accounting, because you know that it doesn't have to be soul crushing. So you did your soul searching so your soul didn't get crushed.
Yep.
I could hear a little bit when we were talking about the EY thing, when we recorded the episode on your show, I could hear a little bit of tinge of like regret almost that you committed to it. You didn't say that at all, but you were like, I really love all of this other stuff, but I think I need to do this. It was almost like something you thought you needed to do. Who made you think that, or what made you think that?
I think just the stereotypical accounting journey, right? So I'm helping recruiting efforts at the firm I'm at right now. We're looking for a few more staff. And as I've been looking through resumes and trying to find young people online who might fit what we're looking for at our firm, it's like 95% of accounting people right now are either at the Big Four or have gone through the Big Four. It is like the path that everybody seems to have thought they had to go through, right? I've gone to a couple of universities now. So I started out at BYU, Idaho, and now I'm at the University of Pacific here in California. And both schools, it's all Big Four, right? Any professor you talk to, any older students ahead of you, it's all Big Four. Everybody thinks it, right? And even coming from a financial perspective, it's a pretty decent guaranteed paycheck for your first couple of years. At least it's better usually than what you're getting at small firms your first couple of years. But in the long run, is that what I really want? And the other thing that it came back to for me, I want to work with small businesses. The whole reason I chose accounting was because I want to help individuals and small businesses use their financial data that we're gathering for them and help them make their business better, help them grow their business. And just going and auditing cash for 3 years and then hopping out and trying to get another job somewhere, I didn't feel like that was going to give me that experience. Where here at this small firm, where I get to do a little bit of a mix of everything, I will get to do that. I'll be able to help my clients in a couple years with tax strategy, with advisory work. I'm still going to be able to do a little bit of their bookkeeping and do all these other things that at a big firm are not seen as important or seen as things that young people should be working on.
You can feel the impact that you're having on the clients. Everybody says this. When they start working at a smaller firm, working with smaller businesses, that's where the passion's ignited again for the profession or for what they do, for accounting in general. People leave accounting because of the Big Four and because of those environments. And then the ones that have their own practices and enjoy it and love it, it's because of the work with the clients and helping people. It's always what comes up first, is you're actually helping people. It's not the accounting that everybody loves. I mean, they actually do. A lot of people love accounting. They say it's a puzzle. They say there's a right answer to it. There's no ambiguity. So that part of it, I think, resonates with a lot of us that end up going into accounting. But then it's the impact that you can have on clients, on small business owners, which is the lifeblood of our economy. So you can affect that. You mentioned you have a family too. Pretty young to be having a family. How old are you, Chayton?
I'm 25.
25. Okay. I mean, I had a family at 25 as well, so I'm not going to say that. I see myself in you a lot. So how old's your family? Young family.
So yeah, I've been married for 4 years, and then I have a daughter who's about to turn 3. That was the most important thing for me, is family. I grew up in a really big family. I don't necessarily want a huge family, but
wow, really?
But yeah, so I'm the oldest of 6, and family's always been number one for me. It was always important to me to get married to the right person, and I wanted to get married early because and this is completely off topic, but I think the whole dating scene today is just messed up. I didn't want to go mess around and just quote unquote have my fun for a few years. I wanted to build some roots and build a real relationship. And so that's what I did. Students in my classes who are 20 and I'm 25, and I have a kid, I have a job outside of school and the podcast, and they're just taking accounting classes and playing Fortnite. It makes me very different than your stereotypical student, but I love it.
Yeah,
and
you're paving your own way.
Yeah.
With all of this, and you're laying your roots, you're setting your foundation for life. And life is long, and it's a journey. And to find that at an early age too, you can create some stability for yourself. Whereas a lot of people now, the scene today, everybody's on their phone, on their apps, if it's the dating scene, it's their dating apps, or if it's anything else, there's an app for everything that everybody's glued to all the time. And we love apps here at Accounting High. We love technology and all of that, but nobody's looking up at each other anymore. Nobody's having real conversations anymore because they're all typing it and it's all online. Maybe they post some videos here and there, but for the most part, you're losing all of that context and just the human interaction. And so you intentionally set out to create a podcast too. Beautiful, lovely name. I almost was going to use that name for my show, but it was already kind of being used at the time. It was Accounting Salon Conversations. And so I didn't take Accounting Conversations, but I loved it when I saw, oh, wow, somebody's actually going to just call it Accounting Conversations. What sparked that? Why did you start a podcast?
So the real secret reason, and this has been kind of a secret too, I'm a big fan of informational interviews and coffee chats. So as a student, you have a little badge kind of on you that allows you to talk to anyone and people be willing to talk to you, right? Once you become a professional, it's a little bit harder to get some of the conversations that you can get.
Are you
as
saying
a
a
student.
metaphorical badge? You don't walk around with a badge
Yeah.
that says student on it. Okay.
Right. And so as I started to get passionate about accounting, I'm sending messages here, sending messages there saying, hey, can we have a 15-minute conversation? I'd love to hear about what you do. Hey, you work at Google, you work at Apple, you work at Deloitte, you work at EY. I want to see what's the right path for me. So I'm trying to talk to all these people. Had over 100 of these online, call them coffee chats, informational interviews, whatever you want to call them. And I started to get to the next level. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to get to the next level of people. The people that are doing the biggest and baddest things, I'm going to try and get conversations with them. And I started to realize that just sending a DM via LinkedIn wasn't working. I wasn't getting noticed, or I would get told that they didn't have enough time, they were too busy, whatever it was. Well, then I said, hey, why don't I find a way to try and add a little bit of value to them through our conversation? Maybe then they'll be willing to have a little chat with me. So I created the podcast. First couple of guests were just students or people that would be willing to hop on the podcast in the beginning. And then I started trying to go after bigger names. And it worked. A couple of people who had told me no before, or they didn't have enough time, or they just referred me to some of their resources, were like, yeah, I'll come on your podcast. I'll have a chat with you. So now I'm having these informational interviews, but I'm just recording them so that everyone can listen to them. So not only is it networking for me now, where I get to build a little bit of a friendship rapport with the person I'm having on the podcast, but now other students who maybe didn't have the courage to reach out to this person or don't have the network that I have to be able to speak to these people can still get some of the same insights that I'm getting from these conversations.
That's awesome. And it always kind of, so again, you set your own path and you create your way by doing this. So you've created now a situation where people are going to start asking you if they can be on your show too. Have that happened yet?
It's been crazy. Yeah. So I hope he's okay with me sharing this. But so I just released my episode with Randy Crabtree from the Unique CPA earlier this week,
He'll
right?
be more than happy that you mentioned his name.
So I'm just like hopping in my car one night and I get this DM on LinkedIn. Granted, I already knew Randy Crabtree's name. He's a huge name in the accounting space. He's the host of Bridging the Gap conference. Like, this guy is huge in accounting in my mind, right? And I get this DM one night. I'm about to get in my car, and it's like, hey, Chayton, how are you doing? How come I haven't been invited on your podcast yet? And I'm like, is this really Randy Crabtree? Like, this can't be. Like, there's no way.
Oh, no, that's definitely Randy.
And sure enough, it was Randy. And I'm sitting here thinking I'm just this little student, right? I'm trying to scrape and find the funds to even get to his conference at the time. Like, I'm trying to do everything I can to be able to get to his conference. And here the owner and host of this conference is messaging me, inviting himself onto my podcast. I was blown away. I was flabbergasted. It was so exciting. And that was one of my favorite episodes so far because Randy's so easy to talk to and he's so passionate about what's going on in accounting too. So it was like our passion together was a really fun episode. But yeah, it's nuts. And then now I'm working on some episodes where I'm having young professionals or students come on and talk about their internship and job experiences. So that's going to be kind of a new section of the podcast I'm doing. So now it's moved even further from just trying to get the people that I wanted on the podcast, but now I'm really trying to spread it out and invite tons of different people on the podcast, including students. So
yeah, you can mix it up too, as long as you're excited. So I used to find that too, is early on, as you get better too, as an interviewer, the episodes start to get better as well. And the reason I say that is because you at first said I was your favorite episode before Randy's. So you got better, and now your episode with Randy is now your favorite episode. So that's okay. I'll stick with maybe your second favorite episode or third. I'll be okay with that too. I'm kidding. So you're young in all of this, so you're a lot more adaptable. You don't have any preconceived notions while you're at this firm working. We're going to talk a little bit about the firm now. You're learning a lot through all the people you're talking to, and all these conversations are sort of like extracurricular. What are you learning on these conversations that you're bringing back to the practice that maybe the owner didn't really consider? Were there things that you're learning there that you're applying to being an intern at a practice?
Yeah. So something that's really special about my position at the firm is even though I'm an intern, my ideas, the things I bring into the firm are considered, even though I have no experience. So our owner, my boss, is super open-minded, always willing to change if there's a better idea, super tech forward. He just wants the firm to run the best it absolutely can. That's his goal. And so, for example, if I am having a conversation with someone on LinkedIn about a new way that they are using Xero or a new way that they've established a connection with a bank account, I can go and take those ideas and say, hey, I know we've been doing it this way, but I was talking to someone about this. They're doing it this way. What do you think? And we'll talk about it. We've even implemented some of those ideas, but it's so much different than what an intern is usually doing at a firm. I mean, I don't feel like an intern at all. I feel like a part of the team, where most of the time an intern is just doing the work that no one else wants to do, or the work that's got to get done, but the higher up employees have more important things to do. I'm getting thrown into everything because they want me to learn, not just throwing the boring stuff at me.
Sounds like they also trust you.
Yeah, which is amazing. I'm a student, right? Like, I'm not even done with my accounting degree yet. I don't have the CPA. I don't have the EA, but I've 100% been taking things from what I'm learning in the podcast, what I'm learning in the real world, and being able to bring that to my internship. My podcasting and networking skills are also coming in handy at the firm because we have some exciting projects coming up that will hopefully be released here in the next year. And I'm going to be able to be a part of that and use these skills I never thought I would develop in podcasting and in developing content and be able to help our firm. So it's been really cool.
You said something about the real world and what you're learning. That's the most important knowledge you could have, and the most important skills you can obtain is real world experience. So the irony of that is, like, I call this accounting high. I don't think anything you learn in school even matters at the end of the day. I'm sure it's all necessary. We all have to go through it, but none of it matters in the workplace. Like, I can't remember anything that I learned in school that I actually applied, besides like a debit and a credit and things like that. There isn't that much that you learn because you don't really learn how to interact with people. You learn that in real life. You learn it in the clubs after school, or you learn it on the intramural teams or in sports. Not only are you getting the school experience and knowledge, sounds like you're going to get your master's as well, but you're also at the same time learning the school of hard knocks in real life. Between the fact that you've got a family, you're in school, you're working, and you have a podcast, all of these things, it's very rare that one person at any point in their life has all of those things and that are successfully doing all of them and finding the time for all of that. But it sounds like you're probably better at managing your time because of all of those activities.
I'm way better at managing my time being a father than I was before. Way better. Because I do what's most important.
You're not puttering
right?
around on TikTok all day or on,
No.
You're not wasting time.
I have a couple siblings who play a lot of video games, and they're always like, oh, you should get into this game. I don't have time for video games, man. I don't have time for it. But so something I was going to mention, I think what you just said is really important about school. When I started doing this internship, I realized so many students drop accounting because they judge accounting off of what they think accounting is in the classroom. Accounting in the classroom, I'll be completely honest, is boring, it's complicated, and it's really damn hard. It's really hard. Accounting in the real world, yeah, it's hard, but it's rewarding, it's fun, and it's exciting. At least what I'm doing at the small firm I'm at, right? You know, maybe the work at the big firm isn't as fun. I don't know. I can't judge that.
It's not. It's definitely not as fun. Nobody says they're having fun at work at any of those places.
But like, I love what I'm doing at my firm. Like, I love even simple bookkeeping right now because it means I'm learning and I get to be a part of the business, right? I get to have an impact. And I think if we could show students that accounting outside of the classroom is so much different, I just think we would keep so many more students. I mean, just in the 2 semesters I've been at UOP at University of the Pacific, we've lost like between 3 and 5 accounting students per class. It's like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. This class totally killed my appetite for accounting. We need to show them the real world. I really wish there were like bookkeeping courses, or Xero has a whole demo account where you can just mess around and do reconciliations and it doesn't affect anything because it's a fake account. It's a demo account. Why can't we have a course where we teach kids how to use Xero and they can map out different scenarios in this demo account and have to reconcile the books? That would be real experience. That would be valuable. But instead, we're just focusing. I mean, I personally feel like all of the classes nowadays are focused on audit, even though we need tax professionals more than we need audit professionals right now. There's a bigger shortage of tax professionals. But the big 4 right now, what do they need? They need auditors. So everything is channeled towards getting more auditors. And audit is great, but where's the bookkeeping class, man? Where's the firm management software class? Where's the...
All of those classes aren't in the classroom.
And they should be.
Yeah,
they should be because it would be exciting.
We've got a system that's in place here that is working for the people that created it. And that system is the structures of the school and the big 4 and those big pillars that are holding everything up. I think accounting is going to be fine. I have a lot of conversations, and the most successful people on this show all got into accounting by accident. They didn't actually go into school to be an accountant, or they found it by accident. It found them. First, it was the puzzles, the problem solving. Time and time again, everybody always says they find it by accident or it found them, and then everything just clicked. It was like when they found accounting, or they started working with this business, or they started doing those real life experiences that they had, ignited the passion for the profession. Sometimes it's a teacher at a school or something like that sees something in somebody and says, you would like this. Sometimes it's a parent or another person that guides them into this because they know best, or they know that they would be really good, excel. Some people just find it on their own because of the impact they had on this person, or did this, or they became a bookkeeper on the side to do it on the side, then grew that into a bigger business that they could even imagine. So then they quit, either they quit their job, or their spouse doesn't need to work anymore because now they have a business. And all of these experiences we're learning in real life. Accounting, we're hearing the pipeline problem. We're hearing nobody's going into accounting. This is dictated down usually by the AICPA, and 75% of accountants are retiring. Everybody's scared that this whole future of accounting is in perils. What you're doing here is a beacon of hope for the profession, or at least showing people that you can go your own way. Within accounting, you've broken free from where the structures were leading you. Those paths that you were on to go to EY would have beaten you down. You would have had to probably stop your podcast, or they would have had restrictions on what you can and can't say. You would have lost your freedom because you would have been in the system. And then you would have been upset about it, probably quit at some point, be worn down, and said, whatever would have happened if I just kept doing that podcast? You're not going to live with any what ifs now either. But my long soliloquy was here. We're all going to be fine. The 150-hour rule and all this other stuff that everybody keeps talking about, those fat things pass, and everybody will find something else to complain about too, or to be upset about, that kids are not going into accounting. I think there is a solution here. Where do you think this leads? Is it just stay the same forever, or are there going to be more Chaytons that are going to break free from the big 4?
I sure hope there's more students that break free and choose to go a different route. But something I've noticed that's hard is I'm one of a very few that get hired by a CAS firm. Most CAS firms are looking for seniors or higher, right?
Yeah, that's what we're looking for. My team even says to me, I say I want to hire somebody and we can start teaching them at a lower end, but they want to hire the people that have all the experience.
Yep. So it makes it hard for the students, right? Like, I've talked to a couple students who want to get hired by a CAS firm, and they can't find one. I'm one of very few that have the opportunity to be an intern at a fully remote CAS firm. Because you look at most CAS firm owners and they're looking to get stuff off their plate, not add more to it, right? They want to hire the next person that's going to help them scale their business, which they should. That's the way it needs to be. But something I've been thinking about lately is how can we, and maybe as CAS firms, because, right, CAS and these fully remote firms is a fairly new thing. They haven't been around for 30 years. It's been, 10, 15 years since these really started popping up like they are now. Maybe as they get bigger and stronger, they'll be able to attract younger talent and have the bandwidth to be able to take them on and train them.
So it's easier now than ever to spin up a CAS firm. And
Right.
usually the way that happens, that model is somebody decides to break free from wherever they're working or whatever they're doing, and they have the ability now to have a few clients to get started and then build some more clients. And it's usually just, one person that eventually hires somebody. But by the time they're ready to hire somebody, they could be overworked. They could have grown their practice to, and this is typical path that people go on, is they try to do everything and then they hire somebody for the overflow. They need somebody that knows what they're doing. They don't typically start out. An interview I had yesterday, actually, she started out and hired the bookkeeper after she had 3 clients and hired somebody very lower level to do what she would have been doing to get that out of her own way so she could continue to grow the business. But I think this is the problem, is we're also the technicians. Most of the accountants that spin up these practices are also the ones that are going to be doing the work, that know how to do it. So clients find you, they want to work with you, and then you become the problem. And then also there's a lot of problems with the model right now that I guess we'll figure out as we go. Like, again,
You become the bottleneck.
Yeah. And people realize they are the bottleneck. We talked about this on LinkedIn recently too, to get out of the way. It's not just EOS that helped me get out of the way. It's also getting out of my own way too.
Yep.
But back to like this situation with the firms that aren't hiring students, a lot of firms that are just starting out, they know the work, but they don't know how to run a business too. So they're learning as they go how to run a business and how to grow or scale and get out of the way, and how to be a business owner and not just an accountant too. So there's a lot of learning for all of us as we go. And all of this is all very new because of what technology has enabled and allowed, and what the software is going to allow too. I think this alleviates some of the pipeline problem, but it also creates more opportunity, and it will create more jobs as more firms spin up and as they start creating practices where they can hire younger students, because we're also offshoring now too. And so a lot of the work that we could potentially hire a student, teach them how to do, and they could grind out a lot of that bookkeeping. It's a lot easier for us to just hire in Philippines or overseas, the lower level work that we would be hiring interns to do. So now you've got a situation where a lot of the lower level stuff could be outsourced, and the mid level or the higher level things that we want to hire for, we're looking for people that have already been doing it here, and we want to scoop them up from another big firm or another practice that they're at and place them right in. So 4 to 5 years experience, usually CPAs with 4 to 5 years experience. That's the golden ticket these days. Everybody wants them.
Yep.
And so,
And there's not enough of them, right?
No, there's not.
And from a graduation perspective, those were the people who graduated during COVID. So there was even a gap of students right there, right? Because a lot of people dropped out. It's messy. What I see hard with that situation is, so okay, you take a student from a Big Four, and they now find your podcast, and they start listening to a couple of others, and they decide they want to join a CAS practice. Well, they don't have any Xero experience. They don't have any QuickBooks experience. And if they're on the tax side, which a lot of CAS firms are looking for because they don't do audits, they do tax, they've only been doing these huge returns for these giant corporate beasts. They don't know how to do a 1040 Schedule C for a client. They have no idea. They have no idea how those rules work. It is so hard for a CAS firm to bring somebody on like that, because it's almost like having to pay for somebody with 4 to 5 years of experience but you're starting them at the intern level because they have no idea what it's like to work at a small firm. So
Well, you have to retrain them in all the things and all the beliefs that they have and the things that were ingrained in them from those bigger practices. And now you may not have to do all of that extra stuff too. Like, there's a lot of redundancies happening and extra work going on that you may not need to do because these clients are smaller. They don't need all of that.
Well, and so it makes it hard. So from my perspective, look, you have the main way that students can go just because of job openings is Big Four. It's really hard to go to CAS unless you know somebody or you find the perfect gig. So you go Big Four with the hope of getting to a CAS firm someday. But now when you have those years of experience, it's hard to be marketable to a CAS firm because you don't have the skill set they're looking for. So I think we're going to run into some interesting tailwinds here is these CAS firms, especially with all these people retiring, are going to start growing really fast. I mean, they already are. People are turning away clients because they're growing so fast. But are we going to have the forward-thinking, tech-forward, non-billable hour thinking students that can step in and help these CAS firms grow?
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to be more innovative in finding those people. I think the most successful hires tend to be the ones that weren't in school for accounting. The people that want to impact and help a business that have no preconceived anything and they're just learning from scratch too. So moms working from home is a great hire. Those I've had the best employees from moms that want a job, that want to work. They'll learn how to do everything and they'll figure that out. I'm usually not worried about the technical skills when we hire. I'm always looking at the soft skills or the character skills or the things that they will excel with when interacting with clients. You can have the best technical abilities in the world, but if you can't communicate to a client and you don't like talking to people, you're not going to be successful in today's world, especially in smaller CAS firms because you're talking to clients. I bet you already have client interactions.
Yep. I got a client meeting coming up here in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's so valuable learning that stuff at this early age because you can take that with you in anything, especially working with this language of business at the ground level of what impacts a business. Why are they profitable? Why are they successful? Or why are they not successful? And then helping them too. So what's the makeup of the practice that you're at? How many people? How many owners?
So we have one owner. There's about 6 of us total, including him. And I want to say we have probably between 100 and 200 clients, but we're looking to grow fast.
What do you do for those clients?
So my clients are mostly bookkeeping right now, but we have a huge mixture of clients. So that's another thing that's interesting about our firm is we're not so focused on a niche like some of these influencers are. We're excited about working with a lot of different clients. We like that, right? We kind of push back on the niching thing a little bit, but we have nonprofit clients, quite a few non-for-profit clients. We have small businesses. We have a couple law firms. We have, you name it. We got a big mixture of individuals and companies. For most of them, we do taxes, and quite a few of them we do payroll and bookkeeping, and then all of them we do tax strategy and advisory. That's a big focus at our firm, right? Is not just the compliance, but adding value.
Adding value. Client relationships. Tell me about the tech stack. So I know this is a Xero firm. You've been mentioning Xero. That's near and dear to my heart. What other apps are you guys using there?
I'm currently helping implement TaxDome. So we're switching from Karbon to TaxDome.
Ooh, what's the reason for that? Price?
A little bit, but the main reason is TaxDome just has so much more. There's so much more you can do with it from our perspective. There's a lot of automations you can set in stone that in Karbon, it's kind of like I see Karbon more as following a roadmap. So you kind of set the pace and what the engagement is supposed to look like, and both clients and employees can interact with that roadmap. But in TaxDome, it's more of you set the actual workflow, and then it tells people and pulls people in when they're needed and pushes them back out when they're not needed. you can automate the whole process. Like right now, I'm working on automating our engagement letters, and through TaxDome, I'm able to send the documents, get the employees involved when they're needed to review the signatures, move them to the next steps after the engagement letter. It completely takes the whole energy that you have to have in the back of your head of, is this getting done? And it just makes sure that everything is getting done for you.
And the reason they call it a dome is because they offer a lot more than just the back office, like practice management stuff. It's billing. Yeah. You can do invoicing out of there. Yep. And client portal type stuff and document storage. So it solves a lot of different app problems. You may not need an app like Ignition because you can do your proposals in there too. Is that right?
You can do your proposals. We're exploring that because it's not as good as we want it to be. So we got to figure that out.
I've heard
we got to figure that out.
The entire dome needs some work to call it a full dome, but it's the idea of it.
And that's been something interesting exploring as an intern is we're Frankensteining all these different softwares together to get the best workflow, right? I mean, this is what all CAS firms are having to do right now. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're doing your engagement letters on Ignition, your GLs on Xero, you're pulling in bank feeds into Xero through Relay and through Ramp. You're doing all these different things and Frankensteining all these things together, and there's obvious like kinks that don't work, right?
Well, that's where you need other apps to duct tape all of it together. So you need more apps. It gets bigger and bigger. Trust me. My firm, I don't even want to name all the apps that we're using just to make sure everything works. It's all automated. It all works. But one thing breaks, and then you got to fix a few things along the chain.
So it's like, it's this $1 million idea, right? Is who's going to come up with the software that does it all and does it all good, right?
Yeah.
Like, I love Xero, but Xero's got its issues, right? Xero's got its stuff that...
Yeah, I mean, Xero's just the GL. So let's, like, at the core, Xero never wanted to be everything to everybody.
Right. But you even look at QuickBooks users, and QuickBooks users are up in arms, it seems like, every single day about something new that's going on with QuickBooks.
Yep.
And it's interesting, right? It's so hard to pull all these softwares together, but I think it's fun. I'm a really tech forward person. Like, take Ramp, for example. Are you familiar with what Ramp does?
For our listeners, explain what they do.
So Ramp is like a digital credit card that you can give to employees. So, like, if we have a client who uses Ramp, they can digitally send out these credit cards so that employees either can spend the money on, like, if they're taking someone out to dinner or if they're buying supplies for the office, or, I mean, you can even do larger expenses now. It started out as just kind of a petty cash card. It's expanded and become something different, bigger now. But essentially inside of Ramp, you can use AI and you can use their technology to code each of these transactions as they come through these digital cards. And then it automatically exports those to Xero, already categorized and ready to be reconciled. So it takes the whole process of determining where in your GL each of these transactions is going to go. So it makes it a lot quicker, right? Mm-hmm. You got to make sure that your coding is correct inside of Ramp before you export them to Xero. But like for those who are using HubDoc or are manually building transactions in Xero, it saves a whole lot of time. So Ramp is really cool, but sometimes Ramp breaks. Mm-hmm. Like just a few weeks ago, we had a Ramp connection break, and I had to go determine how many months it had been broken for and fix every single one of the transactions that was broken. And that takes time, right? But it's really cool what this tech is doing for firms, right? I mean, we're essentially getting to the point where we're a few years away from bookkeeping just being kind of a checkbox. You have someone go and check and make sure it's all done correctly, and then you submit it, right? There's not going to be manually doing anything.
No, there won't be. I've been calling this for a while, and we're so close. We're so close to everything being automated, and in that case, we are going to still be very highly valued because we understand everything that's going on and what's being automated. Just because it's all automated first doesn't mean it's right. You still have to make sure that things are actually categorized the right way because some things come in from one place and there's an exception. So you have to change that. And so it can be automated to a degree, and it just means that there's less for us to do. The stuff that we would be spending all of our time on, I've said this so many times, the stuff I used to spend a month and weeks on, I could do in minutes with Xero. That was it was a huge unlock for us when we had cash coding and doing things in bulk. It was beautiful. That was just the start of all of it. But this is probably a good time to premiere the Xero wrap. I don't know. We're talking about all this automation stuff. I haven't talked about that I'm wrapping at XeroCon. So this will probably air before XeroCon itself. So for our listeners, they may get a preview of that. I know you've heard an early version of it. You're going to be at XeroCon, right? What would you do? You want to come on stage with me when I perform this? What are you going to do on stage? Are you going to sing the chorus?
Sure. Maybe I'll jump out and crowd surf or something.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So if you're going to be at XeroCon, or you want to learn more about Xero, we're gonna play something for you real quick.
Approximately 18 years ago, under the direction of New Zealand's Rod Drury and in the interest of computer security, a single unified ledger, Accounting 2.0, was established. This tool's primary objective was to decentralize accounting and spread this software-as-a-service model across our planet, connected by a global network of remote services called the cloud.
We in the cloud with Xero. We in the cloud with Xero. We in the cloud with Xero. We in the cloud with Xero.
Yo, this new cloud accounting tool woken to it to bestow an evolution, a beautiful blue tech solution. Xero showed the masses what an app was with cash coding to shatter the globe's reliance on desktop as we know it. I'm talking about the grand invention around 2007 when Xero would grow out of New Zealand for technologically advanced tenants, simple finance, safe program, and browser-based sessions. 2012 had lots of skeptics, and the mobile version of our domestic desktop was pathetic. You can reject it for its soothing blue aesthetic and fail to recognize the beauty inside these debits. A very high percentage of accountants in our nation, green console worshipping desktop applications. For more construction of on-site server, pricey installations, redundant ongoing IT maintenance. They gave us real-time information, can take place in several different team locations. Unlimited seats and easy collaboration. For ecosystem customization, choose your own software applications. Cause through application programming interfaces, they create integrations. Two-step secure authentication. National Xero ambassadors. People like Liz Mason, they speak and teach and made certifications. They're trying to free Western civilization from green domination. Well, you need to know that they changed the game. Cloud-based safe space with a beautiful interface.
We in the cloud with Xero.
Thanks for putting up with that.
I love it. I love it. We got to take on the green monster, man.
The big green. Yeah, you can see that live on August 15th. I believe I'll be performing on day 2 of XeroCon. So
You going to perform it again at the party?
maybe. We'll see. I don't know. It could be something else at the party. That's what happened at Scaling New Heights. I performed it again. But this means a lot to me. Xero's not paying me to play this or talk about it or anything. Xero is the reason for this podcast. I mentioned Liz Mason on the wrap. She was our second guest. A dear friend of mine. She was one of the first National Xero ambassadors, as I said. But yeah, Xero, I always say Xero's my ground zero, and it enabled everything at my firm. And it sounds like your firm that you work at is very progressive. The fact that they're using Xero to begin with. I'd love to talk to the owner of your firm someday. Maybe we'll have him on the show. Xero created this community of people, like-minded individuals, accountants that were different. So when you mentioned all of those people like Blake was one of the first Xero users in the U.S. I don't think our practice would be where it is today. We talked about niching and niches. Our niche at our practice was Xero. Clients found us through Xero. And all the clients we took on for years were just Xero because they were the fall off from the green monster. People that didn't want to use QuickBooks, their accountant only used QuickBooks. So they came and found us through the Xero directory because they wanted to use Xero. So we had people that were primed and ready to work with us because of the fact that we were using Xero, because they loved it. So we had that common ground right there. And it was during the time where QuickBooks was getting better, and now their online platform is actually really good. So I'm not going to say that QuickBooks Online is terrible because it's great now. dare I say it, it might even be better than Xero technically because it has a lot more powerful tools that are integrated with only QuickBooks and they don't even work with Xero. So it's an interesting time now because now I think that's the dominant player. So putting those two side by side, now one is green and one is blue. I like to say that a lot because that's pretty much the big difference. Xero's adding a lot of stuff like cash coding type things and things that Xero could always do. QuickBooks is just now adding those features. But you've got tools. The winner of our bracket challenge was Right Tool, and that's a tool that fixes QuickBooks. Like I said, it's not a paid promotion for Xero. It means a lot to me. So this is a special debut here.
We love Xero. So my boss was is it a Xero Pro Advisor? He was one of 5 or 6 firm owners in the U.S. that was chosen to be on a Xero. I don't know if it was a board or it was a small group of.
Give him a shout out. What's his name?
Ray Arellano.
Ray. I think I've met Ray. All right. Well
I bet you have.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've met Ray. I didn't know his last name, but I'm pretty sure I met Ray. Blake talks about Ray. I think Blake knows him too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right, dope. Well, shout out to Ray. Say his last
Arellano.
name. Yeah. We might see Ray at Accounting High at some point soon. So this has been very impactful. Great episode. This was a special one. So students, you were in for a treat today. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you didn't tune it out when I played the rap. So Chayton, tell our students too, give us a piece of advice from somebody that is young, excited, professional, that wants to help make accounting fun.
Do something different than everybody else is doing. So, for me, that was the podcast. It could be anything. Start your own little bookkeeping practice on the side. Start posting on tax Twitter. Start posting on LinkedIn. I don't know, build an accounting club at your school where you guys don't just talk about accounting, but you guys actually do it. Those things are what's going to make you really stand out. And on top of that, I would say start collaborating and getting to know the people in the accounting industry, at least in the CAS and smaller firm world that we're all a part of, because the collaboration is amazing. I mean, the amount of people that have been so kind to me and reached out to me and helped me, I never could have imagined it, right? I didn't ever think people would be that kind and that great, and yet they are, right? I mean, me and you, Scotty, we chat probably once a week now. Never would have expected that. Never would have expected that the owner and podcast host of Accounting High would be talking to me all the time. But here we are, and I love it. I love it. And so I think if students can get involved in that community early, I think it'll pay off.
Yeah, dude. I admire what you're doing. I see a lot of myself in you, but I also see fearlessness that you have that I didn't have. I was still very afraid and insecure and unsure of myself in my 20s. I thought I was confident. I thought everything I was doing, but I would have never put myself out there and done a podcast, especially at that stage. I had a lot of pent-up insecurity. So getting past yourself and getting over yourself, you're doing some wonderful things here, homie. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for imparting this wisdom, wise beyond your years, for our students. Class dismissed.
Okay.